Hey guys, Brent Hull here with Austin Bewley, old friend, cool building. What's going on? Come join me. Okay, so we are near Glen Rose. We're in Texas. You may not recognize this form of architecture. Austin's called it folk art. I'm not sure, I don't disagree. Austin, he's an old buddy, used to be my architect, then he went off on his own.
Seem a little hurt by that, but
no, it's all good. And so he has now bought this. Tell us what's going on. Why in the world did you buy this?
yeah, that's a really good question. I'm asking myself that often. Yeah, I saw a postcard in a local antique store and just fell in love with it. I mean, 1928. This is iconic for Glen Rose. So
this is the old Meridian Highway. Goes back to the Spanish trails, goes back to Indian stuff. But this was kind of the first north-south connected Mexico to Canada highway in the early 1900s, 1910, 1920. This was part of that, and automobiles are coming out. 1912, the Model T comes out. Highways were a big thing because now we are moving away from horses and carriages, moving to cars. This becomes a really important thing, and just like the railroads in the late 1800s, we're going around promoting the railroads. I've told you the story about Waco and how the railroads went to Waco and said, hey, if you want us to come through, you're gonna have to pay us money. Waco said, no way. They went to Temple. Of course, Waco stopped growing at that point. The highways were equally as important, and they were kind of doing that same promotion. Hey, make sure you come through our town.
Yeah.
And this is kind of part of that, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the beginning of the gas station. You know, what the concept of a gas station was. This is really the beginning of it. Place to service your car, oil, gas.
And this was originally a wood frame building.
It's a wood frame, yes.
In the 20s, and then it also became part of the motor court, the motel, the motor court where you would stop and stay for the night. So imagining traveling up this road, no major highways, needing a place to stop for the night. A place like this would not only be a gas station, but also have places to stay.
Yeah, I mean, even the road, the Meridian Highway has been unchanged since the early 1900s. And so really, as you come over this hill, it's on axis with the gas station. And so you come up over and you just see this thing right there, and it's just like, it's just awesome stop. Like it.
Well, there's also an old spring here. And so this was a freshwater spring, right?
Artesian well, yes.
So they would, there's a pipe that came out of the ground. You come up, fill up that basin, right? And that goes back to, there's mineral wells in Texas, a place where these healing springs are going on.
This was a artesian well that you would just sit at. There was a little bench next to it. You'd have a palm covering, and it's just a place to cool off in the summer. Maybe cattle come and drink out of it.
So what's fascinating is you have a number of things kind of connecting why someone would build something like this in here. You got some water, you got the Highway Association, you got the gas station. They built this, right? And you called it folk art. It kind of has a mission front if I was going to put any style to it or something, but there's brick, petrified wood, which we'll talk about. You know about the builder, what was going on?
Yeah, so Glen Rose, the claim to fame, we've had dinosaur footprints and tracks, that's one of them, but another big thing is it's called the Petrified City. This whole city is full of petrified wood. Farmers in the area would plow the stuff up, didn't know what to do with it. They were trying to give it away, basically.
Petrified wood is basically fossilized tree.
Yeah, so I mean, fossilized tree dating, 100 million years old.
Also, there's a dinosaur state park here. So something was going on with the flow of the plates and the dinosaurs and everything else that you have not only a lot of petrified wood, but a lot of dinosaur tracks and dinosaur stuff here going on. So
this was the edge of the ocean, essentially, and that's where you're seeing all this geology coming from.
Very cool. All right, so this is called Outlaw Station, right? What in the world's going on with that?
Yeah, so the historic name of this is Sycamore Grove, but over the years, people have referred to it as Outlaw Station. There's stories of Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson. A lot of these infamous outlaws would come here. They would drink. With this prohibition, so you have a speakeasy in the back. They're doing high stakes gambling.
Well, I mean, Texas does have this outlaw reputation, right? And if you think about Hell's Half Acre in Fort Worth and going back to the cattle drives and to things like that, it was a rougher part of town. Fort Worth, for a long time, there was a mafia angle there. the thing we did on the History Channel at Top of Hill in Arlington, which was a gambling den, and that's 1920. Around the same period, this guy Benny Binion went out to Vegas and started his deal out there. So there's a mob connection with all this going on here too. Early Texas, cattle drives, just kind of lawlessness. Outlaw Station.
Outlaw Station, yeah. I mean, Glen Rose was openly, producing moonshine. The sheriff was in on it. I mean, there was just a huge operation. So
if you consider Prohibition's 1919 till about 1934, we're right in the heart of that. And so, there was a lot of turning the other eye to alcohol, and it sounds like that was going on here too.
And the rivers, I mean, you can basically see the river. So they've got the freshwater source. I mean, there's stills all over the area.
So, I mean, you got to think that the architecture too, we need something that's going to catch people's eye. We need something that's going to be unique and different enough that people will stop. And so, the petrified wood being part of this regional stuff, naturally being part of that, the way they've introduced the arches, the way they've got the brick, I mean, it's kind of an interesting structure. It's rustic. It's very, I mean, I like your term folk art better than vernacular, because vernacular sometimes means subdued stylistically. Yeah. This one is, crazy.
Grant Norman is credited for the design and construction of this building. He's done a lot of buildings in Glen Rose. There's this really nice sweeping arch he did just out of town. All petrified wood, same Acme brick with the red and green brick.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you got this piece of quartz right here. Yeah, he's almost panelized this thing with rock and stone. There's a piece of granite there. It was almost they said, hey, just have fun with it, right? And just go create something unique and special, and he certainly did.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting about the granite though. Like, that's the one component. We found petrified wood in the ground. We found the iron oxide. We found a bunch of quartz. So, I mean, you can tell this was like a quarried piece of granite. And
if you look at just the architecture of this thing, you probably had a pair of doors here, big window, and then you come into this space. We see some original windows here, right there, because you've got the weight pockets. I mean, look at that, the guts of a double hung window that we make now, the 100-year window kind of thing. But you've got the two weight pockets. You had a double hung window here. Looks like you had a few more around. You think those might have been rooms back here, and then this was kind of his office?
I think this, you'd come in, this is kind of this grocery store, where you get your oil, your extra filters. I mean, really, you kind of had to be adventurous back in the day to be a tourist. I mean, you're going into the unknown. Yeah. And so you needed to have these places. Your car breaks down, you need new belts, you need oil, you need a bunch of stuff, new tires. Yeah. And so this is a safe haven. When someone saw this, they're like, yes. Like,
I don't know if you guys watched 1923, the Yellowstone breakoff. There's a scene in there, sorry, spoiler alert, where they're driving the car, they're trying to get to Montana, and literally something happens. I won't tell you, but they hit a gas station. They said, hey, you shouldn't go farther. You shouldn't go any farther. And they ended up, doing that and made a mistake. But you talked about the adventure of it. They talk about on that time going and boy, this will be a fun adventure, going and doing this. Be like, I don't know what it'd be like today, just going out into the wilderness, knowing there's not another place you don't know of another place to stop. So you're finding a bunch of cool stuff. The ultimate goal of this is, do you hope to have wellness, whiskey, a whole development here that you're still working through right now? But right, I mean, that's the kind of the big vision.
Yeah, I think we want to be true to the history of Glen Rose, and so we'd love to kind of incorporate that into the property. We've got stories of Bonnie and Clyde and John Dillinger and all the outlaws coming here and gambling and drinking and the seedy component of it.
The Wild West.
The Wild West.
It's interesting to me because I'm helping my daughters right now with one of their house, the house they just bought in Nashville. We're trying to do the research, okay? It's hard on their house because it's a pretty typical small 1940s house. It's kind of bland. Right. How do we instill, fun stories into it? What you've got is a real gem here, real unique place. And so, but the research is the same. Yeah. The research and finding out the story. So you guys doing your restorations and starting to do your thing. Notice that he's got a sexier story than most because of all that's going on and because of this place, but it's exactly the same thing because you're trying to go not only Texas register, but national register on this gas station. And the quick thing is that the Texas register is pretty easy if you have significance in the state, either a significant person or a significant event or something that happened. To do a national register, it becomes a harder hurdle because what national significance does it have? And so they're telling you it has national significance because...
Yeah, I mean, really, the Meridian Highway is our tie to the national historic places. There's not many gas stations left that have the 1920s allure to it. So
there's ways of doing that, and for Austin it's going to be tax credits, because there are big tax credit opportunities, 20 to 40% depending on state or federal deals. But that's so if it's $1 million, he gets 400,000 in tax credits. That's the way that math works, and so that's a big deal. That can make or break a project, and so that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one reason why we did purchase it, knowing that we have the opportunity to tax credits. Obviously, the details, the windows that go back, the stonework that we put in, you're going to pay a premium just to get to that historic level. But I think it's totally worth it. I mean, keeping this thing authentic was our goal in the first place. So if we can get financial support from the state and federal government for doing it, I think
I would do it for sure. What's interesting to me is that this building is still standing, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's been no roof on it for who knows how long.
Yeah, probably 60 years, I would say.
60 years, yeah. Right? So the really only structural crack you see is just in this piece, and you can see how the concrete kind of bows up and that. But really, I mean, it's held together amazingly well, because there's been kids in here trying to, you can see where they try to knock out rocks. Some of them they have gotten out. I don't know, I'm kind of amazed it's still standing.
I am too, yeah. I mean, that it's standing, and then even if you put a level on a lot of these walls, these are plumb and true.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the front section's the only thing that's really splaying out. So it's a miracle that hasn't fallen. I mean, I think they put that collar tie in probably back in the 80s just to stabilize it. Yeah. But very little graffiti. I mean, there's been some theft of petrified wood, but I mean, apart from that, it's in fantastic shape for what it is.
Well, this is exciting. We look forward to tracking the progress of this. This is a unique thing. He's hinted that he wants to use the 100-year window, so I'm going to hold him to that.
I do.
But this is fun. And Austin, like I said, was my architect for a long time. We think simpatico about restoration and architecture and design and stuff like that. So this will be fun to see what happens here and how it develops. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.